How's it going, my friends? I'm Jason Calva, and this is Everything Rollerblading. So, I recently, the other day, saw on Instagram this new frame company called the New Everything Company. Now, I am someone that is usually pretty dialed into what's happening with new products in the industry and things like that. So, this company and this product came completely out of left field. And the reason why it's exciting for me is because I've been riding flat for most of my skate career. And the first frame, other than a physics frame, so I'll just put that asterisk there, that I rode flat on was the Able frame. And so Able is not around anymore for those of you who've been gone for 20 years. Able was a frame company with Ezekiel Anderson, and so he designed these. Then I started riding almost exclusively for, I don't know, at least 6-7 years maybe, were Kaltik frames. It was the first frame that was really designed just for riding flat. Even though a number of the team members ride these anti, they were the first frame that really had this like wheel bite protection in them. When I saw the New Everything Company coming out and they had a brand new frame that almost looks like a mix or a hybrid of the two of these. It's as if you took almost like a them frame, an Able frame, a Kaltik frame, and you slam them all together. These beautiful things are what you would get. The New Everything Company is owned by Durant Bickmore, and he is the one that let me know that they will be doing some new projects going forward that are not frame related, which is exciting. The person who designed all these is Dylan Anderson, who's an industrial designer, and obviously must be a long-time rollerblader if you're going to do something that has a labor of love like this. So the fascinating thing is that to me it looks more like an art project come to life. So sometimes you'll see people who are in design school who are rollerbladers. Kyle Sola even had some of these drawings and designs that were parts of his schooling and his projects that weren't necessarily going to be a real product. Where this looks like the font on here, the way that the frame is thick, it's beefy like those Able frames. So I like how it's very, at the same time, like you have those like the lines that are more triangular like an Able frame, but it's rounded similar to like the Kaltik style, basically where your frame wall protection is here. They come mailed with these little spacers here so they don't get bent or anything like that during shipping, which I think is a nice touch. The coolest part though was that each of the nuts, so it spells out TNEC, or the New Everything Company, in the funky shape of the axle heads. And I thought personally that that was something that was super cool, because instead of just doing a really generic design, they made it look completely different than any other frame that's out there right now. A few things that I would like to leave you with if you're not physically able to touch the frames is how thick, when you put your finger inside the frame and you can feel to where the edge of the groove is, this thing feels like you can really groove these things in, that they would last a really long time. I don't think that anyone's going to snap or break these. I haven't broken a frame in God knows how long. I'm not jumping off of high stuff anymore. But if you're skating around mostly park, you'd never have an issue with that anyway. But even if you grind a lot of ledges, the way that these things are built, it's at least that thick of just frame before you would even start to get into the opening, and by then the frame would look like it just has a gnarly massive groove inside of it. So they feel really high quality. Everything that when you're looking at them looks like it was very well designed for a new company that most of us have never heard of. I think that they're doing a fantastic job. So I love everything about the marketing. It's kind of like you don't know what's going on. That's the fun part of it. And again, it really looks like it's an artistic kind of a frame. So if you're that nerdy art kid in school that wanted to ride some aggressive frames, this just looks like what it would have been for you. But these frames, yeah, they feel really, really solid.
Hey, I'm coming.
You okay?
I'm fine.
just trying to create a real small bevel edge here a little bit. It's like a straight edge line. And so by rounding that just a little bit, maybe so I don't catch as much, it'll slide into the groove just a little bit easier. One thing to notice is that I keep getting hung up on Royales on a rail, and it's because this is a hard line here, so this could be probably ground down a little bit so that if you're right on it, it'll just go. But if you're sliding into it, this creates just enough friction where you can see this wax building up in here, that kind of feels a little sticky. Not on my leading foot, just on the Royale. I don't notice it as much on Farps because you're pulling against this instead of pushing on it, but Royales, yeah, I'm noticing some hang up right in there. So overall, these frames are really solid. They slide really well, especially like when you're doing sole tricks. It feels like the frame's material is just fast enough. You're not touching on the bolts or anything like that. It's just super slick, really fast material. The only issue I'm having is that I haven't grooved in the H-block quite enough yet. But the split on these, I haven't stuck on wheels. So the wheel bite isn't an issue. I'm actually catching frame bite, which is strange, but once you groove those in, roll over some stairs and kind of round out this H-block a little bit, it would be perfect. I just wish that kind of came rounded a little bit right out of the box so there was zero break-in time. Other than that, the frames are awesome. I definitely recommend buying a set and test them out.